community connected. And oh my goodness, are we doing that this weekend? It's really going to be more on top of plenty, but it really is a weekend full of community activities. But in the meantime, guys, if you've just joined us, well done. You've made it through to another week. Whilst it's raining and dreary outside, I've got to say, whenever I get into the studio, whatever's happened before, however I feel, whatever the journey's like, once I get in here, it is always the right place to be. And it feels very much like that today. Once I hear some Spyro Gyro, I'm good to go. What's fabulous today, I also have Big E in the studio. I feel like I've been on my own for a long time. Last week, Ola wasn't here, so there was no Nico Soft TV. So welcome back to Ola, and good morning to those of you joining in on the live stream. And Big E's back in the house, so it feels like everyone's come back home. I was home alone. Well, of course, you guys were listeners, but the man them, they just chipped out and left me. But there you go. Today's show is entitled, Come On, We Got This. And the quote goes simply like this. My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. I don't know if I'm human or if I'm a spirit having a human experience, but there you go. I'm referred to as a human, although some may say different. But guys, welcome to Let's Talk Show Live on the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. The Chalk Hill Community Radio Station is all about keeping the community connected. Today's show is sponsored by Lloyd Montague of Forever Living. Thank you for your continued sponsorship, and it was lovely to see you recently. But guys, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And of course, have you been living your best life? It's a Let's Talk show where anything can happen, and Big E?
It usually does.
See, he's back in the house. Let me just check that he's fully turned up, because I need you guys to hear him. So yes, it usually does. But guys, the Let's Talk show, of course, is the real talk show. So I was speaking about how this weekend is full of events and activities that are taking place in Brent, and it really is a call out to the community. One of them is it's a celebration, and so I'm going to say good morning to Big E now, and we're going to talk about how the show goes and how the weekend is going to be. So E, good morning and welcome back.
Yes, it's all good to be here. Nice to know that the listeners are out there regardless of the weather, people. I mean, as they say, in our lives a little rain must fall.
Yeah. Do you know what, E? I feel like you've been away for so long that you must have come through customs, and there must be some kind of gift I'm getting today. Perfume, alcohol.
Well, yeah, I was trying to get through, you know, when you get through duty free.
Yeah.
But there's nothing free in duty, so I was like, nah, forget that.
So basically, you come back with your two long hands and you bought nothing for the Queen Blaze.
Back to the show, to the listeners, and to Chalk Hill Community Radio.
Okay, I'm going to find out in the break if Ola bought me anything. Although he wasn't away for as long as you, so it wasn't a long haul flight. We're going to find out if Ola bought anything. But in the meantime, you've both bought yourselves. So back to this weekend, E. We've got a full weekend, right?
Definitely.
We've got a full weekend of activities. And they kickstart today. And when we leave here, yourself, myself, and Ola, we're going to be heading down to the BBMC, which is, of course, the home of reggae. And they're celebrating 40 years. Can you believe that, E?
That's 40 years BBMC has been there.
40 years.
Wow.
1985 to 2025. It's a free event, so it's free admission. There's going to be performances, workshops. There's going to be a tour of the venue because the venue's been refurbished. There's going to be children's entertainment. There's going to be exhibitions. Live broadcast is going to be happening as well. Caribbean catering, all is well when there is food. I mean, I got to say, yesterday we had some jollof rice. Oh my goodness! And we had some cooking from Anita. So to Anita and Isaac,
big up Isaac, and the caterers in the building.
The caterers are in the building because we celebrated last night. I digress slightly, but not totally. We celebrated last night all of the work that we do in the community, and that's because we have places like BBMC. That have gone before us. So Caribbean catering, family, culture, and a history day. It's going to be a day not to miss. I'm really excited, super excited as always, because your girl Blaze is going to be hosting the unveiling of 2 blue plaques.
Oh, 2 blue plaques
2,
today.
did you know that, Ian?
No, I thought it was just 1. Okay.
I thought it was just 1 as well, but I found out today that it's going to be 2. So we're going to go down there, and that aspect of the day starts about 3 p.m. But before that, from 12 noon, it's free, and there's going to be children activities, etc. But I'm also excited because Janet Kay, she ain't playing no silly games today. She's going to be down at the BBMC.
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
I've done it before, but I thought I'd do it again. I didn't think it was stale. I thought I quite liked it. I surprised myself. I didn't even know I was going to say it, but I did, and it's worked the second time round. So yeah, so Janet Kay is going to be down, and then we've also got Tony Gadd from Aswad. Love me some Aswad.
Yeah.
So they're going to be a part of the unveiling, but it is an all-in-one learning centre now. It's not just the Brent Black Music Cooperative, but that's how it started out. For those of you that don't know where the BBMC is, it's 385 High Road, Willesden, London NW10 2JR. So guys, make your way down there. I'm going to run a track now, and then we're going to continue, because there's lots happening, and one of the things is that we need one of these. Let's see. Okay, that sounds very low. I think a similar thing happened last week. Let's see. I think what happened last week is that I hadn't switched over my connection, and I ended up playing music from my phone. So we're back now.
All right.
Yeah. Let's take that back.
Remember when the round 6 man say, time I go train, yeah. Every gully I go run, even man
Hi, good morning, guys. How are you? Fine, you take your time.
Wow, one of my favourites. I mean, there's so many of my favourites in terms of Mighty Diamond, and that, of course, is one of them. That track is particularly poignant today because, you know, as the black community, we are constantly fighting to keep a roof over our heads that belongs by us, the community. And there have been a number of venues, and one of them we're going to talk about today. We've spoken about it last week. And that is, of course, Bridge Park. And so tomorrow is another event that myself and E were going to talk about, and we will do. There's a rally tomorrow, July the 20th. I'm so glad it's tomorrow now, actually, because the weather today is not great. But this is a very iconic building. It's more than a building. In fact, it's a legacy. It's history, and it isn't just bricks and mortar. And joining us today, we have one of the co-founders, and he's taken time to call into the show today. So let's check all the technicals, because there's always a bit of a technical. Pastor Errol, good morning.
Good morning, DJ. Morning to you.
Good. I think everyone can hear you. I think, E, can you hear Pastor Errol?
I can hear Pastor Errol loud and clear.
Wonderful. So, Pastor Errol, joining me in the studio today is Big E. He's the co-host of the Let's Talk show. We've also got a young man, Joshua King, and it's really important that he's here because he is doing some ground-breaking stuff. He's talking about legacy and diversity. So having you on the show as one of our torchbearers is really super important. So, Errol, we've had, last week we had Delaney Brown. We also had Sarai McLeod. And a couple of weeks before that, we had Lawrence Farron. They were all talking about Bridge Park. Tell us about your connection to Brent before we start talking about Bridge Park. What's your connection to this area?
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the hello to all the listeners and to your studio audience as well. Mm-hmm. I really do appreciate you taking time to allow us to come on. And just a correction with Sarai, it's Sarai McLean.
McLean. Thank you very much.
Yes. Well, I started back in HBCC back in November of 1981 when I just came out of prison at the age of around 25 years of age. So I started back then in 1981. It was during the time of a lot of things that were going on in the community that were not right. Leonard Johnson, who was a key founder, found me in the pub, actually. It was called the White Hart Pub in Willesden. Okay. Just across from the courthouse. So that's where he came and began to share with the community that there is this bus garage that's up for sale and helpers and workers were needed. So that's where my roots began. So I always say that Leonard was the one that saved me from a life of crime, a life of emptiness, a life of nothingness, if you like, to where I am today. Today I'm a husband and father. I'm a community activist. I've been involved now with Bridge Park and HBCC since 1981, as I said, over 40 odd years. I'm a management trainer, web designer, graphic designer. I'm the author of 5 books today. I'm also a pastor, regional supervisor, and a national director for the church. I do Bible teaching. I'm avid chess, backgammon, and domino player. So that's some of the things I do. So I love playing domino, chess, and backgammon, which I play every week.
I love that. Do you know, I was on tour. I used to do theatre and I was on tour. And one of the actors showed me how to play backgammon. Wonderful. I even managed to beat him, but I think I might need to come and see you for kind of like a recap. Backgammon. Yeah, I'll have to come back. But do you know, Errol, it's so early in the show, and I'm often emotionally shifted by the stories of those that attend the show. And in 3 minutes, I'm emotionally impacted by how many people say that Leonard Johnson saved their life, the late, great Leonard Johnson, and how sometimes we're misunderstood and people don't take time to give the accolades and the flowers that people deserve. But I had a real fondness for Leonard for that same reason, because you're talking about coming out of prison at 25, and so therefore you must have had some challenges that, rightly or wrongly, would have put you in that position. But you've come out now, and in the pub, that is no longer there now, actually, but in the pub you meet Leonard Johnson, and he says, well, listen, he was a real prophet, actually, because he said, I have a vision, I have an idea. And for much people, that idea would have seemed ludicrous at that age. But you listened to what he said, And you've just given a wonderful account of all the amazing things that you can do now. So you met in the White Hart pub, and he told you about this disused bus garage. What happened next, Errol?
Well, what actually happened next was I wasn't really interested at the time,
Okay.
because my main interest was making money for my family. I had two baby girls at the time,
Mm.
and so my interest was just making money. So rather than stealing, which is what I was involved in, I decided to do gambling, and I was earning quite a lot of money, probably between 700 to 1,000 plus at that time.
Mm.
And I wasn't playing fair, by the way. I was cheating. But what
Ah.
actually happened is somebody said to me that when the pub closed at 3 o'clock, someone said to me, "There's a new gambling house up in Stonebridge."
Mm.
So we traveled up to Stonebridge, and it was a place called the Annex. And when I walked in,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed there was a lot of things going on. The community was buzzing. There were things going on, and there was a little table where people were gambling. And I sat there and waited for a game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leonard walked in, dropped his bag, and started to speak just like he spoke in the pub. Then I realized he was the leader of this particular center. It was a
Yeah, yeah.
disused bus garage. Sorry, it was a disused car park that was converted into a youth club where black men and women gathered.
Mm.
And then he said something. He said, "Tonight there is a meeting in the Hilltop Club, and we're looking for coordinators." So on my way home, I remembered the meeting, and I decided to go over. And that's where it all began, when Leonard pointed and said that we're looking for coordinators to work in that office. It was called the Hilltop Club at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
the office. And I looked and I saw the tables and chairs and the telephone. My dream was looking at me. I've always wanted to work in an office and put my feet up. That was my dream all the time. And
Wow.
it was staring me in the face. And I remember when the meeting was over, he was meeting with the police and social workers, and I didn't understand what was going on because I couldn't read and write at the time properly.
Oh, wow.
And then when the meeting was over, I said to him, "Leonard, I would like to be a coordinator." And that's how it started.
Do you know that's so fantastic on so many different levels? Because one of the things about moving on, about healing, about sharing messages is when we're open and honest. Because you said, a number of things you were doing. I said I'll join you with backgammon. I won't join you with gambling because I probably wouldn't do very well anyway. But then you even honestly said I actually wasn't even playing fairly. But here you now have got this young man who walks into this, what is now your new gambling spot possibly, walks into this space and announces that there's going to be this meeting. Do you know, as you're talking, I know that there's lots of footage, but this needs to be a film. This really needs to be a film and documented. So Leonard has come in, he's announced you've been to the meeting, and then you see your dream. Your dream is to have your feet up in an office. Mine is to have as much stationery as possible. I'm a little bit weird like that. So you've got this office and space in front of you, and you see this as your dream. So now you recognise actually that you do want to join Leonard Johnson, because in the beginning you were like, I just need to make some money for my children. So tell us now, from the vision of the office, putting your feet up, the meeting and the annex, what next?
Well, yeah, I walked into the office the next day because I wanted to escape the rat race of stealing and smoking and gambling. I really wanted to escape, but I didn't know how to escape it. And this was an opportunity that I saw. I came into the office and I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what used to happen in that particular Hilltop Club was what we used to call, we used to have what we call the Hilltop Club, but we used to do Sunday school. Sorry, we used to do Sunday school in there. We used to do Sunday night disco. We organized dance classes, drama classes, photography classes.
And this was in the
children.
annex?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the one now with my team that began to organize all these things, the Hilltop Club, Sunday disco, the dance classes, and many other things that we were doing in the community. So some of those classes were being held in the annex, some was being held in the actual Hilltop Club, and some was held over at Donovan Court. That's before it was knocked down. So around 18 months. And the interesting thing, though, DJ Blaze, is that I was doing all of this voluntary. I wasn't being paid.
Sure.
And in fact, I was receiving was £7.50 per day. That would help me to get
Wow.
lunch because I just walked from Roundwood Road where I live to the Hilltop Club, so I didn't have to travel and so on. So that was the next stage for me. So for around 18 months or so, I worked tirelessly with a group of people to run the Hilltop Club, the dance classes, the photography classes, and things like that. So everything that I ran, I got involved in. So I became a dancer, became a photographer, I became an
Oh,
actor,
wow.
but I acting. In fact, I started at the same time with Ray
Fearing.
Fearon.
Yeah, yeah.
Ray went into acting and I went into education, so we kind of split from there, and that was the next phase of the chapter for me for the next 18 months before I went down to Bridge Park.
So you coming like Woolworths pick and mix. There's a whole lot of stuff to you, right? You're dancing, you're gambling, you're cheating, and you're not gambling anymore. Then you're doing the Sunday school. Then you're doing. There's a lot. That's what we call more on top of plenty. How fantastic! Does it? Can you
Yeah.
when you play it back and you think about how you must have been ahead of your time? But I do want to ask you a question. 750, right? Back in the day, my dad used to leave 21 pence for 3 children, and we used to have a whole bag of sweets each. Could you get a lot with 750 at that time?
No, that was 182. No, you didn't get a lot with 750 back then at that time, actually, even though it was 40 years ago. But it was only enough for me to get something to eat for that day, and I worked for that. I mean, it to tell you the honest truth, it wasn't the money at that time for
For
me. It's
sure.
the fact that I wanted to escape where I was. And this was an opportunity for me to escape. I was signing on at the Dole office, obviously, so I was getting some money to help me and family in that sense. But this was an opportunity for me to escape, and I wanted to escape. There was no other way I could have done it. And this was my only chance, and I decided I'm going to take it.
I love it. So was it at this time then that the Harlesden People's Community Council, in short HPCC, was formed?
Yes, it was. In fact, it was already formed. There were a few people like Leonard Johnson, Laura, and Juliet Simpson, Ozzy Gilbert, and a few people that was around at the time. And so it was already formed.
Okay.
We had our own constitution and so on. And it was around that time when Leonard saw how involved I was and how committed I was that he introduced me and invited me to sit on the HPCC council. I sat on it, and let me say this, DJ Blaze, for approximately 3 years, I couldn't understand what was being said at the meeting because of my educational level.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't understand simple things I could understand. I just couldn't understand because I couldn't read and write properly. I failed in school because I was expelled from school in Brent.
Yeah.
I was in an approved school, actually. I don't know if you remember a place it's called Barrett's Green, but it's a children's home. So
Yes,
I
yes.
was in the I was also in Barrett's Green Children's Home for a while. So it took me quite a while to understand, but I was determined to learn. That was the thing.
I'll tell you what, that is some real tenacity there, because for all of those challenges that you would face, being in a children's home, being excluded from school, ending up in a PRU, it kind of shows a real strength that all things are possible, and it depends on what your belief is, but all things are possible when you have support and when you have the right people around you, but also when you have the tenacity and the determination to do what you want to do. And that's why I'm super excited about our next guest, who is Joshua King. At such a young age, he's showing real determination and real tenacity. And I think that sometimes when someone has a bit of a challenging moment or time or background, that people misunderstand the true ability of that individual. Because in your press release, you go on to talk about unshakable determination and integrity, which gave birth to Europe's largest community-led regeneration project, and it was the largest in Europe, which is just amazing. And that was a Stonebridge depot, which we now know as Bridge Park. And you talk about community healing and lasting hope, and this all makes sense because it was the coming together of a group of young people that was so profound. So let's go up a bit to the point where Bridge Park now became Bridge Park? Let's get to that point, because it was opened, or at least by once held by King Charles III as royal opening, as one of the most important developments that he's ever seen anywhere in this country for a long time. So let's get to the point where Bridge Park becomes Bridge Park, if you may.
Yeah, quite a few things have happened in that gap, as you would have known, and so I'll take it from the Prince Charles. I mean, I was a part of the leadership team that organized his coming, and that really took quite a lot. And he did what he had to do, and it was really a day that was buzzing. There was over 1,500 people in the sports hall waving flags. There's a lot of people outside in the car park as well, waiting to meet Prince Charles, and lots of people that were supporting us. The ITEC was filled with trainees. I was the chairman of the ITEC at the time as well. I'm also the vice chairman of the HBCC. I'm also the chairman of a Scholar, which is our educational facility that is still running today, by the way. So, you know, what really thing I remember mostly is how exciting things were, how the community was buzzing, how people were really engaged in all different areas of life within Bridge Park. And I want to say this as well, because within the first year of our operation of Bridge Park, we turned over 53% of our own income.
Wow.
We were on the road to self-sufficiency. And this is where I believe that Brent Council came in and made the attack, because we were on the road to self-sufficiency. We had an economic plan, we had our social plan and all of that stuff, and things were really going well. But, you know, when things go well is when things can also go really belly up. And you know, we thought we had a good relationship, not just with Brent Council, but with other organizations who teamed with us to make Bridge Park successful. So it wasn't just us by our own, but there were other people that were engaged with us, that were partnering with us in different ways, whether it was by advice or by funding and support. But you know, we'll come to that later. But yeah, at that particular Bridge Park was really, really buzzing. And that's the thing that really, I look back and I remember how the community was so engaged in what was going on, and at all levels, well, and all ages.
Because I am going to see if my co-host Big E would like to kind of comment or ask any questions, because he's still using Bridge Park to this very day. But I remember as a young person, and I've told this story a number of times, as a young person, I already knew that I wanted to have my own business, and I had this plan. And when I heard that Bridge Park had opened, I was like, okay, so someone's done something wonderful. I need to go and find out how they done it. And I went down. In fact, I don't even remember how I arranged it, because back then we didn't have, just about probably had a house phone. We didn't have mobile phones and that kind of thing. But I went down and met Leonard. I cannot remember. There was someone else there. I cannot remember who it was. But what I do remember, he was sat in the cafe, and I went and I was like, hi, you know, my name is so-and-so, and I really want to open my own nursery, and I want to have my own business. And he said, yeah, take a seat. And I think there was a book, a directory of funders and people that could help me. And it was like, here's this book, there's information in there, you know, come back and see me. And I was really in awe of the size of this building, that it was just so massive. I was just so in awe of that, and I will never forget that, because today, whilst I'm not brilliant at backgammon or drafts or anything like that, I am fully self-employed and have my own business, and that's because the likes of all of you that, you know, were a part of Bridge Park, I stand on your shoulders. I went to school with Ray Fairman, and I always say, I think he came to school about twice a year, if that, always looking smart, but that's all he needed, and he's also a phenomenal individual. So I'm going to hand to Big E to see if there's any thoughts he has about Bridge Park, how it, you know, it's been beneficial to him, or if there are any questions he wants to ask you. Over to you, Big E.
Well, I wouldn't say there's questions. I just want to comment on the actual success of Bridge Park, because the thing about it is, for the community, Bridge Park has been a massive success, because right now, up to today, people are still using Bridge Park. Bridge Park's still busy as it is. And when you look at it, it's one of the biggest community success you have to say that's ever been done in any borough anywhere. because I've never heard or known of any other, community space like that when it comes to sports and well-being and looking after the community, where has been such a success. And you've got to give props for the people who started it, like yourself, and all the other founders that founded Bridge Park. And I can't knock it because I still use Bridge Park up to today.
Thank you, E. Yeah, it's guys. Listen, if you've just joined us, it is the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station, and of course, it's the Let's Talk Show live with your girl Blaze and Big E. Today, we are talking about legacy. We are talking about community. We are talking about building a dream, and we are talking about tenacity. There is so much to say, and just so heartfelt, actually, to be honest. And it's about how do we join together? How do we make a difference? Today's show is entitled, Come On, We Got This. The quote for today is, My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together. My first guest today is Pastor Errol Williams, and he's just sharing a profound story that much of us have the pleasure of sharing. Just before I go to the fact that you're an author of Building a Dream, and I started reading it, and thank you, I just want to say, within that gap, because we did kind of move forward, was there anything within the gap from, you spoke about meeting Leonard and then the opening, was there anything in that gap that you really wanted people to know that I might have skimmed over?
Well, I'm saying hello to Big E, and thank you so much for sharing what you said. And I wanted to just touch on the point that you had mentioned about the canteen. It might well have been me that you met with Leonard.
I wondered that,
because I was the one that was using that directory fundraising book, because I one of the things that I had to do during that time, Bishop Mike Wilson and I, we designed a course called Pursuing Excellence, and that's from the first book that I wrote, which is what I regard as probably one of my best books. And that book really epitomizes the course that we ran, and we took hundreds of people over a number of years around different parts of the country, unemployed people, and really got them off the ground. And what we were doing basically was using concepts from what we had learned through building Bridge Park to teach this to unemployed people, to homeless people. And we've got some remarkable and incredible stories that we could tell. And what I had to do during that time, I had to raise funds. And so my target was 100,000. And I normally would raise around 70 to 80,000 within 6 months. And then we'd use the other 6 months to run the program. So that's how we run the program. And the program was a weekend away, from a Thursday to a Sunday. So there were 4 particular days. And it was to do with personal development, things like goal setting, listening skills, time management, personal development stuff, leadership, and so on. And it was a course that was accredited as well by the Institute of Learning and Management. So people were going away with a real certificate.
Wow.
That we had designed that course. But that course was designed basically from the experiences and skills and the knowledge and the wisdom that we had gained through the Bridge Park project. And that course is still being run today, because we run it also through Bishop Mike Wilson in Birmingham at the moment, through different things that's going on. And, the one good thing I think from the pioneers that are still alive today, a few have passed away, but from some of us that we can recreate Bridge Park anywhere in any country.
Yeah.
It's because all we're doing basically is using the knowledge, the skill, and the wisdom that we have applied here to transfer it elsewhere. And it really is a joy to have worked with some of the people. Leonard Johnson was a leader like no other. I mean, his faith was incredible. And let me just give you a close on this point, because this was an incredible thing Leonard did. I'm going to tell you how Leonard spoke versus how we spoke. Leonard would come to a meeting and he says, before we got Bridge Park, he would say, when we get Bridge Park, this is what's going to happen. This is going to go here. The way we spoke was, if we get Bridge Park, then we will do this and that. And then I would constantly say to us, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And he constantly kept on reminding us when we get it. And that has never left me because his faith was relentless. And I want to say this as well. We applied to the European Social Fund for £67,000 to pay some professional to teach us how to run certain part of the project because we didn't have the skills. And generally speaking, it would be the MP that would go and represent us. Leonard said, under no circumstances is there any MP representing us. If we don't represent ourselves, we don't want the money.
Wow.
So they broke protocol, and Leonard Johnson, Lawrence Fearon, and I think Juliet went to Brussels. When they went to Brussels, they offered us £47,000 out of the £67,000 that we wanted. Leonard said, we don't want it. We came here for £67,000. If you're not going to give us £67,000, we don't want it.
Wow.
And we came up with the £67,000. We employed 3 professionals, and it was one professional, a guy by the name of Len Holmes, that trained me to become an international management trainer today.
Do you know there's so much in that last aspect? There's the aspect that I feel like there's this couple of programs like Who Do You Think You Are or Long Lost Families, when there's an aspect of your life that you just can't place, and you have filled in that piece of that puzzle. Because I kept saying to people there was Leonard and someone else, and the fact that you have so aptly described the directory, I now really firmly believe that it was you. And I don't know if maybe I was 19.
My office as well, just to cut you, Blaze, my office was next door to the canteen.
Yeah,
That's where my office.
I think it could have been. And that directory was everything for us. I mean, there were different reasons why myself and the business partner that didn't happen at that time. But the fact that in words there are power, words sound power, and the utterances, if we put them out in the right way, the whens and the not ifs, and when we, it is about the fact that we will, if we have that mindset. And also the audacity that Leonard did to say, we don't want the 47, it's either 60, whatever we came for,
or nothing.
Or we don't want any. Because, Big E, most people have said, all right, then we'll
take
right?
it. Yeah, you are. Yeah,
most
you
people
bite the hand off.
They would take it and take less than that. But he knew that he could get what it is that you guys set out. And that really is building a dream. Errol, you're the author of Building a Dream, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
And is that the story of Bridge Park?
Well, I didn't want to write an autobiography. I didn't want to write a full autobiography. What I wanted to write, more or less, was the lessons learned from it. And that's my favorite chapter within the book, is the lessons learned, because there were, I think I had 17 lessons that I learned, and they were very, very, very powerful lessons, and they cost a lot. And I'll give you a classic example of one of the lessons that I put. I'm not sure if it's number 1, 2, or 3. I don't have the book in front of me, but one of them was never, ever sign a blank check, ever. I remember that title specifically. What we did basically was all the check signatures were going away to a place to call a Holy Ride, where Chief of Police and Chief of Prison Officers meet, and we would go there, and we were lecturers on that particular program. And we were all the signatures were going to that event. And then the treasurer ran out to us and said, look, we've got to pay wages. All signatures are going to be away. The only way around this is to sign some blank checks. So we signed 3. 2 was used to pay the wages. 1 was kept back for 6 months. And at some point, 2 of the treasurers decided, well, one had already left the company, but they decided to withdraw £50,000 from our account, stating that they were going to do some investment on the stock exchange and so on. And so on. We never ever claimed that money back, but it really put a dent into operation because of certain issues that then arose from that. We then had to prove that this was, not a decision taken by the leaders, but as a decision taken by an individual or 2 individuals in this case. It went to court, and both individuals were found not guilty of theft. They were taken to the what we call the I forget the word I'm looking for, but civil court, and so on. And they were they were found guilty in that sense. But in the criminal court, they were found not guilty. But the point I'm making from the book is lessons that we would share with other organizations under no circumstances whatsoever sign blank checks. Never, ever do that. And so there were 16 other lessons that I learned. So the book basically was around that. And then what I began to do was to share some of the skills that we use in different areas of the organization, like fundraising or marketing or leadership and things like that.
Errol, that that title, "Never Share a Blank Check," although you've given us some actual information around what actually happened, that can be used for so many different scenarios. Never sign a blank check. I love that. Errol, I'm going to do something which is a little bit off script. In the studio with me, I have our next guest, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to tune in and listen to him. But Joshua is 22, right, Joshua? Yes. Let me just say good morning to Joshua. Joshua, good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Show Live.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
You are very welcome. So, Josh has been listening to the show. In a few sentences, just mention to Pastor Errol where you're at, because I want Errol to give you some words of encouragement before we go to the main show. So just give him a synopsis of why you're here today.
So I'm here today to ask some help for my training. So I'm currently training to become an airline pilot. So far, I'm a private pilot, but for the rest of the journey to get a commercial license, there are multiple exams and courses that I would have to take in order to be eligible to work for an airline.
So this is the young man that I have sat in front of me, who I am in awe of. What would you say to Joshua at this time? He's 22.
Yes.
He's a private pilot. He wants to do some more training, and I want him to fly me to St. Kitts Caribbean, because that's where I'm from. So that's my reason for having him. But what would you say to him, Errol? What advice could you say to Joshua?
You know, Joshua, I'm glad that I have the honor of meeting you, even though we're not in person. I don't think sometimes people think that when they meet me, they feel that they've got the honor of meeting me. I don't look at life that way. I see that even though you're 22, I have the honor of meeting you even online. I really do appreciate and love what you're doing. I have a godson who's also a pilot as well, and I do know that it costs a lot of money to become a pilot, and there's a lot of challenges. But here's the thing I want to share with you, and I hope that you may have a pen and paper to make a note of it. I have used this throughout my life. Every successful business on the planet used it. Every successful business used it. Even Jesus Christ himself used it. And it's a four steps. And Bishop Mike Wilson was the one that introduced this to me, and I've taught it everywhere I go around the world. And the first thing that you must have is what I call your aim, your vision. And you must be clear about what that is, whether it's piloting or running your own business or whatever that thing is, Joshua. You've got to know what your vision, and that vision has to be clear, and I would strongly recommend that you write it down.
Yes.
There is a saying that says, if your vision is not written, it's just a wish list. So I strongly recommend. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you must have a plan. There's a saying that said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And you must have a plan. So you have your aim, you have your plan. The third thing, this is where most people fail, is action. You got to take action, and you got to take action based upon your plan. So you're actually acting based upon what you plan to do. And no matter what comes your way, you've got to be consistent. You've got to be persistent. You can't quit. There's a saying that says, winners never quit and quitters never win. The final stage is what I call review or evaluation or feedback. So what you're doing is you're reviewing your aim, you're reviewing your plan, you're reviewing your action, and you're learning from each stage to see what went wrong, what didn't go wrong, what do I need to change. But you cannot stop under no circumstances whatsoever. So I call it aim, plan, action, review. And it's called a cybernetic cycle. What that means simply is that it's an ongoing. You start at 1, you go to 2, you go to 3, you go to 4, then you go back to 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Aim, plan, action, review. This is a concept that we teach on our program called Pursuing Excellence. And listen to this, Joshua. This is the first concept that we teach. And what we do, we get all of these unemployed people, we sit them in a room, we ask them to get a chair and a pen and paper, and we ask them to write everything that they want to achieve in life before they die. And that's the starting of it. And once we get that, then we can formulate the plan, the action review. So those four things as I close is aim, plan, action, review. Remember, with your aim, with your vision, if you don't have a vision, you're going to struggle. If you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail. When it comes to action, winners never quit and quitters never win. And I would say this on review. Always look out for people to give you feedback, because feedback is the breakfast of champions. Let me say it again. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. I hope that helps, Joshua.
Yes, it's really helped me. Thank you very much.
What's wonderful is that Joshua is so humble, because he has delivered to me a proposal, and it has his vision set out so clearly, and his action
Amen.
today is being here today. So Pastor, I do want you to, if you have time, to stay tuned and listen to the show, and if not, I'm going to be sending you the recording anyway, because I want you to help me to be one of the champions, one of the cheerleaders for young Joshua, because we've got some work to do. And I think Bridge Park continues in the sense that you are able to still do some of the things that Bridge Park in itself was set up to do. And so I'm employing you to join me in being the champion for Joshua. Joshua, how does that sound?
Sounds great.
Delighted,
Thank you.
To do that.
Good, I can't wait. Okay, so let's get to the point now where we're at and why we're meeting tomorrow. And I'm so glad it's tomorrow, because although rain is blessings, there's a lot of rain today, so hoping tomorrow will be a better day. But what's happening tomorrow, Pastor Errol Williams? What am I helping you to do?
Well, thank you very much. And, tomorrow we look forward to our Bridge Park community rally. And, there are reasons why we are doing this. And we want to honor the legacy of Black pioneers like Leonard Johnson, Lawrence Fearon, Juliet Simpson, and many others. And what we want to do is to protect the vision and those who have sacrificed and so on. We want to stop the closure and the takeover of Bridge Park. This is our land, it's our center, our right to govern what we created. We also want to demand justice and accountability from Brent Council. As I've said over and over, their lies, their deception and injustice must be exposed and be challenged, and I will be exposing that. We want to unite the community across generations. This rally brings elders, youth, families, and leaders together as one voice. And we want to awaken public awareness and gain national support as well. Many still don't know the truth. And we are telling our story loud, and we're going to tell it clearly and also without any shame whatsoever. We want to defend our culture, our economic and spiritual heritage, because Bridge Park is not just a building, it's a symbol of ownership and excellence and of hope. And so we want to secure the future as well, as you mentioned about Joshua King here, for the next generation. I'm 66 this year, I'm 65 at the moment, and I'm not going to be here forever. So we are fighting so our children and grandchildren can inherit what is rightfully theirs, and and so on. So tomorrow, basically, we are coming together. It's a peaceful rally. We are not interested in violence of any kind whatsoever. So this is a peaceful rally that we've decided to put together and hope that people will come. It's going to be from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock at Bridge Park. And we're so delighted, DJ Blaze, that you are involved. And thank you so much, because if it wasn't for you, it would have been held today.
It would have. Do you know, the thing is, right, I said to myself today, now look at God. Because even when I was thinking about changing the day, I was like, I don't really want to be in people's business, telling them not to do it that day. But something was saying to me, move the date to the Sunday, move the date to the Sunday. And so being obedient, I said, okay, I'm just going to go for this. They'll either say yes or no. And I almost backed out and thought, leave the people. But today, when I saw the pelting of rain, I was like, boy, I don't know what kind of cagoule
Everything
or
for a
raincoat we
reason,
got.
Everything for a
Because
reason.
he said to me today, what did you say to me today? Look like I'm going
You-
where?
Yeah, you cover like you're like in the sunshine.
Like there's some sunshine. There's always sunshine, even when the rain's falling. So I'm also happy that the event is tomorrow. It's going to be at Bridge Park between the hours of 2 and 6 p.m. There's going to be food, I believe. There's going to be you go Blaze. Well, I'm going to be down there talking as always. Big E, are you joining me tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm down there.
Big E's going to be joining me tomorrow. Joshua, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe it might be a good idea for you to come down tomorrow if you're free, so we can talk to people about your plight, because that's the whole reason behind Community and Bridge Park. So, guys, if there's anything you want to add to the show, it's 07956 548 781. That's 07956 548 781. You've been tuned into the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. The Chalk Hill Community Radio Station is all about keeping the community connected, and we're doing that today. We've just had a fabulous conversation with Pastor Errol A. Williams. I mean, I could talk to you for another hour, but I know that you've got things to do, and we need to share Josh's story. Before I give you final words, let me just see from Big E, is there any final words, comments or questions, anything from you, E?
Just hope we get a good crowd tomorrow, and I'm in the back end of Bridge Park, and all the supports are needed, so everybody come down, especially if you use Bridge Park as well. Just come down and just make a day of it.
Yeah, because E uses it a lot. I remember there was a time actually I spent more time in Bridge Park than I did at home, and whenever I started packing my bag, my son would say, "Mum, you going to Bridge Park?" And I was like, "Oh, I think I'm there a lot." I was there for every gym class possible. I was just there all the time. I was there for the raves as well. Big shouts out to Hawkeye, who holds Sunday Serenade every second Sunday. And I attended last week Sunday. The place was ram. And I really felt it in my core, like this is not going to be a space for these people to come out on a Sunday. I mean, people come with walking sticks, all kinds of things. You don't even know how they got into the hall, right? But they're there and they're having a good time. And so it was really heartfelt that this has been running for such a time, and that space may not be available. But what we're saying is, we're saying come out tomorrow, because we won't give in. Errol, just remind me, what was Leonard's quote? Was it build something or other?
Build and not destroy.
Let us build and not destroy. So let us build tomorrow. As Pastor Errol said, it is peaceful. So there's no destruction. It's all love, coming together, unity, and actually for our voices to be heard, for us to make a stance for our legacy, because it is not just a building. This is a part of our history that I feel that is being whipped away. It's not about the building. And as you quite rightly said, Pastor Errol, there are so many places that we could repeat this. And you've shown your real growth and development over the 40 years. Because I've seen your website. Do you remember I said to you, who did that website? It's amazing. And it's your website. So all of these skills that you've gained over the time, from being somebody who for 3 years didn't really even understand what was happening, but you continued, so that you can now share those wonderful words with Joshua. So before I close, are there any final words or anything that we haven't spoken about that you want everybody to know about?
Well, just to say that tonight I will be live. I'll be doing a live stream, and I will be visiting the BBMC that I have watched for the last 40 years. I've seen them. I've been there when they started, and we'll never forget them, because they started back around 1985. We started back around 1981. So we've had a lot of dealings together along the way. We've seen their struggles and their situation, and we congratulate them actually for 40 years of service to the community. So I hope to be there. Then at 7:30, I will be having a live streaming, so people could go to hpcc.live. That's where the website is, hpcc.live, and all the information will be there. There are lots of blog posts that we've been putting up recently. And people can actually connect to our databases and get information from us, contact us by phone or by email. And we'd gladly respond to anyone that may contact to us. So let's go to hpcc.live.
hpcc.live. I will also see you down at BBMC, because I'm hosting there today. So I'll be down there at some point after I finish the show. So I look forward to seeing you there. We can have a pre-event hug to exercise some energy before we get ready for the rally on Sunday. So listen, Pastor Errol Williams, what a wonderful contribution you have made today to the Let's Talk Show live, and I cannot wait to see you later. And if not, I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to play a track that reminds me of that time, that reminds me of that era, and also reminds me of the fact that, you know, it is said that Leonard stopped and you guys stopped rioting or uprising, whatever it was, in a different place, and that people came to Brent to try and riot, and you guys run them and said, not here, because we have to live here. So I'm going to play Police and Thieves by Junior Mervyn just like this, and I look forward to seeing you later.
Police and thieves in the street, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the street, oh yes, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. From Genesis to Revelations, yeah, for the next generation will be hearing all the crimes committed day by day. No one tried to stop it in any way. All the peacemakers turn war officers. Hear what I say. Hey, 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 hey. Police and thieves in the street, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the street, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. All the crimes committed day by day, no one tried to stop it in any way. All the peacemakers turn war officers. Hear what I say. Hey, 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 hey. Police and thieves in the street, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the street, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves, police, police and thieves, police and thieves, police, police and thieves.
Radio is more than sound waves, it's storytelling, connection, and a platform for change. The Codger Baden and Chalk Hill Community Radio Research Project is putting lived experiences on air. We're amplifying voices, uncovering truths, and ensuring research speaks to the realities of African and Caribbean communities. Be part of the conversation. Codger Baden and Chalk Hill Community Radio, where research meets real life. Contact Blaze on 07956 548
The C Word Project. It's more than just cancer. It's community care courage. And it's time for a conversation that reflects us. The C Word Project is here for you. A culturally rooted support network for African Caribbean individuals facing cancer, because our stories, our voices, and our resilience deserves a space to be heard. Join the conversation. The C Word Project is where community heals. Contact Blaze on 07956 548 781.
Cancer. It's a journey no one should walk alone. Yet too often, our voices, our stories are unheard. The C Word Project is more than a support network. It's a space for African and Caribbean individuals to share, heal, and uplift one another. Because our communities deserve compassion, understanding, and action. Join us, the C Word Project, because community changes everything. Contact Sarah on 07958 338 564.
Wow, what a wonderful first part of the show. For those of you that were tuned in, I had the pleasure of having a conversation with Pastor Errol. Pastor Errol Williams is one of the co-founders for Bridge Park. So I'm just trying to set my levels here. Leveling. Yeah, one of the co-founders for Bridge Park. And as you know, there's going to be a rally tomorrow. And myself, Big E, and our next guest actually is going to be joining Pastor Errol Williams and some of the other co-founders of the Bridge Park complex. I know some people refer to it as a leisure centre, but we've spoken to Errol and we've spoken to Delaney Brown, we've spoken to Sarai, we've spoken to Lawrence Farron, and it isn't just a leisure centre. And what we found today is that the wonderful legacy and support that comes from an operation like that, a legacy like that, is that our young guest, Joshua King, who's going to be joining us shortly, gets to have a conversation with somebody of influence, with somebody of tenacity. So thank you to Errol. And yes, I will definitely be sharing your number with Joshua. So Joshua, good afternoon now. We said a good morning, but good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good. So what was that like listening to that first part of the show for you?
It was very interesting to see how it goes and everything, and I was very intrigued and to learn the history of our community.
Wonderful. You guys know I have a particular fondness for young people, and I already have a fondness for Joshua. So Joshua, we had a brief conversation either yesterday or the day before. The universe has it that you had been kind of bypassed me, and then you come right back, and now you're in the studios in the seat in front of me. So I'm super excited that that has all come to pass and you're in the right place at the right time. Joshua, tell us a little bit about your kind of your upbringing before we talk about the reason you're here today. Tell us what you remember about your childhood, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, throughout my childhood, I've had a good childhood. I've had a lot of support from my mum, my dad, my brother, and a lot of family and friends. And in school, I did enjoy school as well. But
where were you in terms of siblings? Older, middle?
I am the youngest.
You're the youngest.
Youngest of two. So my brother is older. He's now 29. So a approaching the big 3-0.
Okay.
But yes, I am the youngest child, so 7 years difference, and yeah, I've just been trying my hardest to push through. Had some ups and downs, challenges in life, but that's normal, especially through secondary school. But you know, I try and keep my head straight and level, and continue to work hard and pursue for what I want to do.
Nice. It's kind of obvious because when you read Joshua's personal statement, when you have a conversation with him on the phone, and then when you see him here in the studio, it's just wonderful. So he's grateful to having great parent support from mum and dad. He has an older brother, and he's got good family support around him, and that makes for a pretty much rounded young person. Of course, we have edges, as Joshua said. There are some ups and downs. But he's on the way up, guys, and that is why Joshua is joining us today. Now, we had this interesting conversation before the show started, and Joshua is a private pilot, but he's also a driver. I'm a driver, and I also, well, actually, no, I don't ride a bike, actually. I think that's what the story was. But, Josh, tell us what you were saying about your confidence in terms of driving as a new driver and a pilot.
So when it came to like driving tests and just driving in general, I actually found it a lot harder and more nerve-wracking compared to flying. I know I've been flying for a good amount of time now, but even before then, I didn't have as much. I wasn't afraid as much when it came to driving. So I had my pilot license before I even started driving, learning to drive properly. But like when it came to the tests, leg was shaking. I was like, what's going on? Like, why am I so nervous? I can fly a plane, but I can't drive a car. So
I thought that was so interesting. I was like, hold on a minute, you're nervous at driving and you fly a plane?
Yeah, you're in charge of a plane.
And then I recalled that actually I'm a driver that can't ride a bike. Well, I can ride a bike, but only in straight lines. I can't go around corners, E. Can you believe that? I can drive a car, but I can't go around corners. But I just found that. Were you not surprised though, E? I know you're laughing at my ability to drive around
the fact that I would just drive behind you to watch you cycle, get off your bike, walk around the corner, and then get on again.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I didn't know that I didn't know how to go around corners until I got to a corner. I was like, hold on a minute, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I just thought best to get off. But were you not surprised when Joshua said, actually, I'm more nervous about... We were talking about parking.
Oh, yeah, parking, yeah. It took me a while. Gonna need some good new rims soon as well.
Some new rims.
Yeah, ooh, okay, yeah.
Fantastic. But, at 22, though, Joshua, I'm just in awe that you are a pilot. So you developed your interest in being a pilot, you were saying in primary school, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
So I used to travel a lot, going either to Jamaica or Barbados, and pretty much throughout my whole childhood and growing up, it's always been about planes, like plane spotting, watching videos, flight simulator. So like, for example, when my mother bought me Flight Simulator for Christmas a very long time ago, that definitely fueled my ambitions to learn how to fly aircraft.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was from a very young age that I learnt about aviation and wanted to get into it, and that's where I set my goal.
Do you know, sometimes they allow you to bring your children to the cockpit. Were you allowed to do that?
Oh, yes. I've got a ton of photos, even flight experiences as well, where I'll get into a real simulator just to see what it's actually like. And even like when I grew up after college, I think a week after college, I applied for a flight attendant because I wanted to get some information about flying. So then 6 weeks later, I was actually in the cockpit for like takeoffs and landings and everything.
Wow. In just 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Right.
So 6 weeks of training in Manchester. Then I was able to become a flight attendant and stayed in Ryanair. For the takeoffs and landings, they allowed me to watch and observe since I told them this is what I wanted to do as a career. And they gave me advice and tips and ways I can get around to, hopefully be in the cockpit as well, flying someday.
That's great, because some 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, when you say, what do you want to do when you leave school, they still don't have an idea.
Yeah.
But you were saying pretty much, as a young person, you knew that's what you wanted to do. So you were setting your goals on being a pilot. What were people saying to you when you were saying this is what you wanted to do? Like school, I don't know if I still have careers advisors, I've left school a long time ago. But what were people saying to you when you said, I want to be a pilot? What sort of things were people saying?
well, they give you like the look, like, huh? You want to be a pilot? So like a bit of a judgment, but that's normal. That you usually get, and you got a lot of people that do support you. You got some people who are like, nah, you can't do it, or nah, I ain't gonna take you serious or anything. But I know I still held my ground. I just shrugged them off.
What kept you motivated, do you think? What was the thing?
Like, it was, I would say it's not, basically kind of like a calling, because I couldn't really think of anything else in life that I actually wanted to do. Because I do engineering and everything as well, and I did like build computers, I do all sorts, but nothing really, standed out as much as to be a pilot. So I guess I never really lost an interest. Like, there were ups and downs where I was like, oh no, I can't do this. But then I'll do something, and then it'll motivate me to do it again. But yeah, it's just something I've always wanted to do.
Wonderful. So you spoke about a young child travelling to Jamaica to Barbados, numerous visits to the cockpit and experiences, etc. But by the time you got to 15, what sort of experience you had then? Because you had your first cockpit experience, is that right?
Yeah, my first flight experience. So actually handling and flying an aircraft. So this was when I was in the kitchen with my mum, and my mum was talking with one of her church friends, and then they have a son who's actually a pilot. So we're in contact with him, and we asked if he would be able to take me flying, and he agreed to it on the same day, which was surprising, and my mum was obviously thrilled about that. So we went to the airfield, I met up with him, and he took me flying for the very first time, and then let me handle the controls.
What, this all happened on the same day?
Yeah, all on the same day.
Well, you handle the controls
So
on
it
the
was
same day.
really last minute planning. So literally just
Those
got
are the
there.
best.
He took off. He's like, right, here's the controls. Get a feeling of what it's like to fly an aircraft. Turn left, turn right. Yeah, it was insane. I had the biggest grin. Like, it was crazy.
Compared to the simulator that your mum bought you, and now being in the plane, what was that like?
It was just unreal, because like you feel all the motion, the turbulence, you feel everything, and like you're actually living in the moment where you're 2,000 feet above the ground, being able to look around. Compared to looking at a screen, it was completely different. So
That's what I was going to ask. The actual simulator you had, was that from a game? Was that a video game? Okay.
So then you had like the little gadgets where you have your little controls, your throttle and everything.
But they're quite realistic, aren't they?
Oh yeah, especially now, very realistic. Because I still use them to this day as well. Because a lot of people use it for the training now, because of how good it is and how realistic it is. But yeah, completely different.
That's how I learned to drive. I used to go arcade and jump into.
Do you know what, Joshua? Why I went like this? Because I've been doing this show with E for about 8 years now.
That's how I learned to drive.
And all of a sudden, he just drops these nuggets like I knew that. So I thought you were going to say you've been flying planes. I was
No. Definitely not.
Okay.
But that's what I used to do, because when I first started, decided I'm going to go for my driving test and take driving lessons, I used to go arcade, and they actually had a game there that had gears, the pedals and everything, and you had to go through certain, and I used to go and play that 24/7.
That's amazing.
I can do that with my driving.
Yeah. I think give Josh the details, because he needs one of those as well.
I had to learn the hard way.
He needs one of those, because it worked for his flying, it worked for his driving. So 15, your mum calls a friend of hers from church. She has a son that flies. They're like, all come on down, and this all happens in the same day.
Yeah.
You get in the plane, and he's like, here you go, left, right, fly. Wow.
So
wow.
was this plane dual control?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually a lot of the small ones, like the Cessnas and the Piper Warriors, they're all dual control, dual rudder pedals. So either person on any side can land or take off.
Okay.
As well.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
That's pretty interesting, right?
Take control. Yeah.
I mean, like, pardon the pun, how do you actually ground yourself after an experience like that? How do you come down from that? Pardon the pun.
Oh, I was living, I was smiling all the way home, especially when I got back to school, like, yo, guys, I feel a plane. So I was showing everyone the video of me flying a plane and everything.
Oh, nice, and you had a video as well.
Yeah. That was a crazy experience. So that was on my mind for a very long time. And then that was where I was like, okay, I really need to.
You know now,
Yeah, I know this is what I want to do.
Because I guess those experiences are going to tell you that you either really want to do it or actually you really don't. But if you were in primary school now, they used to have this thing where they could say, what did you do at the weekend with your parents? Can you imagine? Oh, I flew a plane. So doing that at 15, that is fantastic. And so you went on to flight school, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about flight school. How does that work?
So literally, after that, he gave me some contacts to get in touch with a couple of flight schools that he was with. So called them up and signed up to start doing some flight training. This was like a couple of months later, and then I've done single flights here and then when I could during school. And then just built my hours, getting some experience, but I was on and off at that point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't only until around last year, so the year before, around November, December, was when I started committing. And then I got a new job, so I had to stop because I had to do training for the job that I was doing and everything, so I couldn't. So,
but Joshua, all of this though comes with a cost, right? Doesn't it?
Oh yeah, very expensive. So that's why I think for the first 14 hours that I have done, all of that was just either once a month or I'll do one lesson, and then 4 or 5 months later I'll do it because it was a financial issue there. So I couldn't really do it at that point in time.
Sure.
So it's only after the job that I got now, and then with all the help from my family members and friends and everything, that last year during summer I decided to just put it all in, and then I'll just keep my head in the books and do all the exams at once and just get everything done and then do all the flying. So then within 3 to 4 months I actually finished the license and I was able to get my private pilot license at that point.
Well done.
Yeah.
So with a private license, what does that allow you to fly, if that makes sense?
So that allowed me to fly at small single engines like piston aircraft, usually up to max 6 people, I believe. But in terms of where I can go anywhere.
Oh, really?
So actually, was it November, December, me and my friends decided to fly to France for the day.
Okay. How cool is that?
Book
I'm
out a
so
plane, fly to
excited.
France. They were in France. It was completely different. Obviously, I was nerve-wracking because flying over the English Channel over ocean for the first time.
Yeah.
It was very intense.
You got some
But
good
it felt
friends,
very
though.
nice.
Yeah, so that means did you guys have to charter a plane? You charter a
Yeah.
plane
So you
yourself,
just
have to pay for
literally
all that?
rent it. Yeah,
Rent it
just
out for
rent
the day.
it, and then the flight school covers the fuel. So
Yeah.
we booked out like things with like border force. Just flew out there, landed, did some refueling, rented some bikes, cycled into the town, had a a little lunch there, and then came back for the end of the day.
So are you allowed to fly in the dark as well?
No, so
nighttime?
that's something that's another thing.
That's a good
part of the
question,
training.
Yeah.
So that's actually called a night rating license, which is something that you have to pay
you have
towards
to-
and get that
okay.
one as well.
Right.
So you do like a couple of hours of takeoffs and landings and solo flying, and then they will issue like a license to add on to what the private pilot license you have.
Yeah.
And then with that, then you're able to fly in the night.
Okay.
So
Nice.
currently, just stuck in the day, and in terms of weather, I can't go into any sort of cloud or anything.
Okay.
Since
right,
that's
right.
something.
So mainly you're flying on a clear day.
Yeah,
That's
just clear days or just where there's few clouds.
Josh is gonna let me have cramp in my face, because I'm just skinning my teeth the whole time.
Go fast for the day with your bridges. That is cool.
I'm like, who's
So
driving? Oh, I'll fly.
Yeah.
I'll fly. That's the way you got some good friends. That's great. Awesome. Your friends. I've got a good friend because now let's just get a plane. So you don't have to worry about driving and parking.
No.
Just get a plane
Yeah, just get a plane, just fly out.
and fly out. Just don't, why drive when you can fly?
You know that.
So, guys, listen, I am in awe of our second guest today, Joshua King, 22-year-old, a private pilot who just gets a group of friends, is getting a plane, fly over to France, get a couple of bikes, have a bit to eat and fly back. That is not the same as a trip to Westfield, is it? So, guys, if you fancy something exciting like that, my guest today is Joshua King. Contact number is 07956548781. You're tuned in to the Let's Talk Show live with your girl Blaze alongside a Big E. Special shouts, oh dear, there's always a moment. Special shouts go out to Ola, who's joined us today from Nico Soft TV. So, guys, if you're tuned in on the live stream, thank you very much. Please send us some messages in and let's send some encouragement to the wonderful Joshua King. So, Joshua, talk about your personal experience now and kind of how you support yourself with the various roles that you've had in the industry. So you've mentioned Ryanair, So talk to us about that.
So I started off with Ryanair just as a stepping stone and a way to get ideas and information on what I need to do, the requirements and everything. So like medical, how much the cost for training would be, and just like places where I can go. So I started off there with Ryanair, and then I actually work in the airport as well right now. So I'm able to get the behind the scenes of everything, of what goes on like with operations and stuff. And literally when it comes to being at the flight school, I usually help out with other students, or even online where I did TikTok and YouTube. So I'll do live streams, and with those live streams, sometimes I get even thousands of people watching, or hundreds of people on TikTok. And I'll have pilots as well that come, and I'll get their details, and then they'll talk me through certain things, or what I need to do, or ways I can improve on flying in general. So with that, I was able to get me around 100,000 followers on TikTok alone.
Brilliant.
So with that and the views that I was doing, that helped me invest into the training as well. So it was just a lot of multiple different ways that I've tried to branch out into in order to finance what I was doing. So I did the TikTok, the YouTube. I created like an online business where I would create videos for people as well. So it was just a mix of things that I did to get me where I am today. And yeah.
Do you know, Joshua, when myself and E invite people to the show, and you'll probably hear me say on live, you're tuned into or you're locked into the Let's Talk show. What we don't tell some of the guests is that what locked in means is that they never leave because of all those skills that you have. I was like, oh, you could help me with that, you could do that. I jest about you being locked in, but what we're saying when we say that is that, that is more on top of plenty. How you've managed to fit all of that in at just age 22 in itself is commendable. I see no reason why your dream should not become a reality. There are too many things that you have done, and in the way that you've done it, that means that people like myself, like Big E and Ola and the Errols and the elders, we kind of owe it to you to get you over that line, because it is our duty. You've given us every reason why we should, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. And so today, guys, this is a call of action, and Joshua's going to tell you a bit more about why he's here today. Not just because I love stories like this, not just because we want to share the accolades of what he's already achieved, but that he's at a point where he needs our help. So let's talk about that, Joshua, and then we're going to go back to the rest of the story. So I think it's really important, in case somebody's just tuning in for a few minutes, that they hear this now. Why are you and I connected? What's happening now that you need some support with?
So right now, I'm at the next stage of my flight training. I'm at the next stage of my flight training, where it's more of the expensive side, which is to get a commercial license. With the commercial pilot license, it will allow me to actually get a job and earn money and income compared to the one that I have now, and then to.
And is that when we go to the Caribbean? Is it that one?
Yes.
Nice.
So you'll be flying a big plane, 747s and that. You big boy, it's good.
Of course, so literally, that's like the biggest part now. So I've sacrificed work for next year, for example, because I'm doing an 8-month course to finish off the last exams that I got. Which is the next highest level of exams that you need to work for the airlines and everything. And then I would need help financially for things like hour building, instrument rating, all the exams, and then for the commercial upset recovery training. And those are the things that I would actually need some assistance with, because it is a lot of money.
Are there scholarships? Is there something that we can collectively support you to apply for that will allow you to move to the next phase, or is it really going to be the GoFundMe page? Is that your option?
I would love to try and get with the scholarships, because I've applied for a couple, British Airways, Aer Lingus. I've actually had an interview with Aer Lingus where I've had to fly to Ireland. So I've made it to the last 600 people out of, I think they said 11,500 people.
Wow. When you say fly, do you mean you flew? or
No,
you were flown?
no.
Oh.
Ryanair.
That's like Dennis Jones going to Ireland as well.
So
you went to Ireland, yeah?
Yeah, so we went to Ireland and like we did like a team building exercise and interview as well, but I didn't get past that stage. But that was the first time I made it, and they said like congratulations, because out of 11,500 to make it to the last 600 is a really big thing.
That's an achievement.
You see, that is amazing. But as you uttered, as you were getting to the point, my heart was just doing all kinds of weird things, because I think that you know already that yes, that is a great achievement. But I know that you know already that there's probably about 7% there or thereabouts of pilots that are from the African Caribbean diaspora. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And so your challenge is that before anything, right? And you've done so well so far. That is why it is our duty as a community to get behind you to get you to the next phase. And I say that not because I'm on my soapbox, and much of you know that my soapboxes are big. I'm a real advocate for justice, and in particular for our young people. And some years ago, I should have checked the years, I can't remember what year now, but it might have just been, must have been during that time when people were locked down, locked in. And we met young Rashid Graham. And he again was going through a phase where his scholarship was halted because they were saying, Davey,
Said there ain't no giving in, no. Rastafari guide, I and I, whoa, whoa. I said my people, we've been facing struggles for so long. Ja people, please me I beg you, please could you hold on? I know the system have you down and you feel pressed down like 50 feet. After the buckle, yeah, the victory sweet. Me say me still not give up, me just kiss me teeth, not give up. I said there ain't no giving in. Hey, how when the going get tough, I said the tough gets going. Jordan, believe me, not give up. I said there ain't no giving in. Why you right? Hey. Till I see I still a guide, I and I. Ooh, I
Chalk Hill Community Radio. Check out our website for the latest news and reviews. We are always looking for new presenters. If you're interested, please contact chalkhillcommunityradio@gmail.com.
okay, guys, so that was Chronix, because Chronix said no giving up, no giving in. Big shouts out to Diane Schroeder Johnson, who's offered to share the GoFundMe page. So I will be sharing the GoFundMe page. Joshua, talk to us about now, in October 29th, 2004, you proudly received a major milestone. Tell us what that was. I think you've mentioned it briefly already, but just go through.
About the Viper.
No, sorry, I'll come back to that. This is about your pilot license, your PPL. Talk to us about that.
During summer last year, I decided to put everything that I had, through the assistance of my family and friends, to get my private pilot license done. So within 3 to 4 months, I've completed all of my theory exams, radio exams, and then the practical exam in order to get my license. So I was able to do all of that. It was a challenging time because obviously I had to take time off of work. So I used my annual leave instead of putting everything on holiday. I just invested it and just put it all into my training just to get everything done before. I didn't want to wait until the winter where the weather wasn't good and then space out and waste money and stuff. I wanted to make sure that everything I put in was spent properly, and that it would lead to a good outcome, which it was since I actually got my license.
Wonderful. So you have done a total. This might have changed now, but 75 flights or 75 hours.
Hours, yeah.
Including 15 as a pilot in command. What's a pilot in command?
So pilot in command is basically where I am the person that takes the sole responsibility of the aircraft and the well-being of it, and in control of who I take on board, passengers and everything as well. So it's basically me as the captain of the aircraft. So you need a lot of those hours in order to get your commercial license, and to work with airlines as well. You need a certain amount, so like around 150 or more. So yeah, that's the part where I need to build on, which is when the hour building comes into play. So the hour building is for me to build that pilot in command experience to get more hours with that.
And so for every hour you pay for?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So usually for airlines, it's around 250 hours that you need, or 200 to 250 hours that you need for minimum requirements to get into them.
And that's quite a rigorous process, I imagine, because you're responsible for the safety of yourself, the safety of the others, getting this big machine off the floor, across channels now, and landing it safely on the other side. So what is the assessment like?
So for the theory assessments, you just sit in a room, you're given a computer, and then depending on the exam, you would have 12 questions, you would have 14 questions or 16 questions. And the minimum pass rate is 75%. They're all multiple choice questions.
Okay.
Some involve math depending on the subject, so that could be like flight planning or mass imbalance would involve maths, but they're all multiple choice questions. And in terms of the...
Were you good at maths in school?
Maths, yeah, I was pretty good at maths, yeah. Maths and science was more my strong point.
Nice.
Compared to
we have a maths show on a Wednesday. Shouts out to Mr. Motivator, Mr. Numbervator. Mr. Numbervator. He motivates as well, though. He's going to come for saying that. He does great jollof rice also. So he does a show every Wednesday from 5:30. So maybe you should come and have a chat with him about maths. So his children would love that. It's summer holidays now, but I think he'd love to have you on his show. So you've gone through this rigorous test. You're in a room. It's a computer. It's multiple choice questions.
Yes.
And the pass rate is 75%. Did you say?
Yes.
And how did you do first time?
First time was nerve-wracking. I did get 75% on that one, but then the others was all in the 90s, some 100% after. Because on the first one, it's just like
you're not easy though.
It's just the realization. So like once you've done it, it's like okay,
you kind of understand where you're at.
Yeah, because some things will be hard at the start, but then the more you do it, it's like it's actually easy. You don't have to do as much. Or
so it's something you can like sort of practice at home before kind of going.
Yes, So either reading more, but so much you can do, or you can do things like question banks where you get given questions and then they'll change like how it's worded and stuff, and then you just have to like think about it properly. Yeah. And so question banks is something that definitely helped throughout my training.
But you kind of bank the question, put it somewhere, and
no, so like they would already have some of the questions. Like it will be all saved, so you might get some of the same questions, but
I see.
You just learn how to answer them and how you would work out some things, and then say if you got it wrong, then there'll be a description on how to do it and everything.
That's really good, because I think sometimes, especially if you're not really into academia, sometimes you're asked a question and you just have no idea. But that's just because of the way it's phrased, and if it was turned around and phrased differently, you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I do that every day. Yeah. So that's really important. But in 2021, you successfully completed your 1-year Fantasy Wings Aviation Development Program. Fantasy Wings, what is that?
Fantasy Wings is like a program that was made not too long ago to bring those who aspire to become pilots all together, and they would like put you in a large hall and have guests such as students who are part of like the big flying groups like Skyborn, Leading Edge, airline pilots, like their CEOs and everything, and then they'll come and present themselves and talk to you about their journey and what it takes to become a pilot and things that you can do in order to support yourself to try and get to where they are at that time. So it was basically like a massive meet and greet, and then you would also have multiple meetings and visits with them, and then at the end, once you've completed the full course, you get a certificate to say that you've done this, like you've finished the course basically.
What is it?
Like I don't know yet or whatever, but as you say, you've got your goals, you've got your dreams, and it's set, and you're just heading towards them.
Yes. And
hopefully that is what you're here for today as well. To help make the rest of that dream come true.
There, Joshua. Right. Okay. So. You've spoken kind of, a lot of the time around how you and your family and friends have kind of put yourself through the journey in so many different ways. And you beautifully spoke about, the work that you've done and how you've got there. I'm particularly interested in the fact that you balance in full-time work, employment, but you're running a successful Fiverr business. Tell me about that.
So I started a Fiverr business for quite a while ago. So where since I was doing the live streams for YouTube and TikTok, my brother told me that you should try doing some videos. Since you're really good at making those YouTube videos, maybe you can try and branch out to find something else you can do to expand on that, which is where Fiverr came around. And I made a Fiverr business and started promoting it on my social media page. And then I actually started to get customers. And over the course of around a year, I've got a lot of 5-star reviews, over 50. I've sold like my products and stuff all over the world, different parts, New Zealand, Canada, America. And that really helped me as well. As I said, that's what the money that was in that was all invested into the flight training as well. So yeah, the Fiverr did help out a lot, and usually I did that after work. So I'll come home from like an 8.5-hour shift, or sometimes at my old job I'll be doing 15-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts. I'll come home and I won't be sleeping until 2 or 3 a.m. trying to make a deadline to like send off a video to someone. So I'll be working well over like 20 hours sometimes. But I just wanted to get it done, and then to help. So I just put in the work now, so at least in the future I can relax, and I know I can look back and see the tough times of what I've done, and that it was all worth it in the end.
I think you've put in so much already. You could probably retire at 25. You could probably just retire, fly for a few years, retire at 25. That's wonderful, and also it's about how creative you are.
Yeah.
Because you've physically done a long shift. You couldn't physically then go somewhere else and start packing boxes or do whatever it is for the amount of time you're now going to spend doing your Fiverr videos. So, all props to your brother for suggesting that would be a way to go. Let's talk about the fact that I mentioned earlier about being an advocate for diversity. Let's have a conversation about what that means to you.
So I just like to, because I see when you talk about how there's not a lot of us that are out there. For example, when I was doing Aer Lingus, there was 60 of us in a room. There was only everyone there. It was only me and another black person that was there. So there's not a lot of us in the industry. So I think sometimes it could be unfair for how they're processing people and applications through. But it has been a lot better compared to what it used to be. But I think...
So now has it gone from maybe 2 people to probably about maybe 4 or something like that?
Yeah. So it's slowly getting there, and then they're also introducing programs and stuff. I believe Fantasy Wings is something like that as well, where they try and get more diverse people into the programs to try and become pilots and stuff as well. So it is happening, but it's just at a very slow pace, and I think that it could be a lot better.
But I love that at such a young age that you're already saying, listen, I'm going to be an advocate, I'm going to be part of the change, I'm going to be part of the legacy. Because in the same way that your brother has kind of said, Joshua, maybe you should do this, it will be good for you. Maybe you're going to be saying to a younger, actually, even if it's not about being a pilot, but there are a number of transferable skills. In the same way that Errol has spoken to you about his suggestions to help you, you are in an amazing position now already to talk to young people and maybe looking at some motivational conversations. You'd be great to go into schools. You'd be great to go into pupil referral units where young people feel that then people aren't hearing them or giving them a chance. So you're already a trendsetter. What say you, E?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because one of the reasons why as well we have the show is, young people like yourself, you come on and you can show other young people there are things out there we can do. Instead of just we keep getting the negative, images of, young black men out on the road and they're doing this and that and the other. Now there's a lot of guys, like yourself who are doing good things. And that's what you got to bring forward and show, well, listen, no, we're not all just doing that. We're doing this as well.
Amazing. So we spoke earlier about having an aim, having a mission. What is your aim? What's your goal? What's your objective? What do you want to achieve?
So for what I'm doing, I would like to work for an airline and start off as an airline pilot, and then hopefully branch out into the more corporate side, doing private jets and stuff as well. So that's like the end goal for what I want to do. But in terms of at this current point now, the first primary aim is to get a commercial license, which is something that I would need help with.
How long does that take? Is it about length of time, or is it just about money?
It's about money. Yeah.
It's about money.
Literally, for the whole of pilot training, that is the main factor. It's just more the financial side.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many people that drop out of it, because they'll begin it and then they'll be like, wow, or they get their private license like, wow, I've done that, but then there's like double, even triple the amount of
to get to the other
funds
side.
that you have to put into it in order to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
So that's literally the only sides to it, which is a bit challenging.
Because that's difficult, isn't it? When money is the thing that's going to make the difference for you. And so it is. But the other thing that's going to make the difference, it really is the coming together. Guys, if you've just joined us, it's the Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. The Chalk Hill Community Radio Station is all about keeping the community connected. And you are tuned in to the Let's Talk Show live with your girl Blaze and Big E. Our special guest today is 22-year-old Joshua King, who is someone who has a private license as a pilot, but we're trying to get him to take myself, Big E, and Ola all the way to the Caribbean. We're trying to get him into the big planes, and we want to help him reach his goal. He is so deserving of reaching this goal. But the challenge, of course, listeners, is the fact that he needs some money to do that. So on top of that, in terms of the money, he needs your support, he needs your commitment, he needs you to share. And I think any amount of money that we can give as a community is going to make a difference to Joshua's life. He's already talking about doing 15, 20-hour shifts and then coming in and doing some more on top of that. And the other thing is that Josh is still needing to practice reversing and parking his car. So we don't want to add any more stress to the fact that he's trying to fly a plane as well. So I'm calling you guys to help him. I mean, at 22, he's absolutely awesome. He's managed to break the barriers, and he's already a torchbearer, and we owe it to him to support him and get him moving. So guys, connect with me on 07956 548 781 so that I can share the GoFundMe page with you. Josh, I'm going to hand back to you. Tell the listeners now how else they can get hold of you. You know, you've got some handles. I think that's what it says. Is that still cool? Handles, social media handles. Yes. I still say that? Okay, cool. So just come a bit closer to the microphone and make sure everybody can hear your social media handles or how they can get hold of you.
Okay, so if you can find me on TikTok or Instagram, I go by the POV Pilot. So that's all together, the POV Pilot. So where there should be a link which would link to my GoFundMe. Or if you guys head over to the GoFundMe page that I have, or just go into GoFundMe, type in, hi, I'm Joshua, help me take off to be a commercial pilot, and then you should see me there. So those are the two places you'll be able to find me, either on GoFundMe for hi, I'm Joshua, I'd like to take off to be a commercial pilot, or on TikTok and Instagram, the POV Pilot.
That is wonderful. So you know how to get hold of Joshua. If, like me, your memory's bad, you can contact us here on the studio, and we will make sure you're connected. But this isn't the last time you're going to hear a conversation with myself and Joshua. He's going to be back, I'm going to be back, and we're going to do some more on building this opportunity for Joshua. Joshua, what does it mean? What does it really mean to you to be a pilot? You've spoken about the simulator that your mum bought you, and I kind of feel like I want to get one for my grandson actually, so I can have a go too. You spoke about that, which was a useful commodity. You've spoken about, you know, taking your friends to France, and that was just so wonderful, and how you've broken the barriers to be in the smaller group of people. You've already got your private license. You want to be a commercial pilot. What does it really mean for you? What do people need to hear? What does it really mean for you?
It means everything to my life. As I said, I don't have any other career path or anything that I would like to go for. And if I was when I become an airline pilot,
did you hear that?
when I become an airline pilot, I would continue to support the community. Obviously, look out for my family and friends, and then for those who have helped me along the way as well. But then to like also set up a community where we can give back to our people, and help them out. Maybe some sponsorships to help people get started for those who are struggling as well. But yeah, that's the end goal.
That's wonderful. Do you know what? I don't know if you remember, Joshua. Your mum and dad might talk about this. They still do it a bit now, but we used to do like coach trips to Little Hampton and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I just got this vision. The flyer's gonna be, we're flying out, and Joshua, you're gonna be flying us out, and we'll meet at Bridge Park to get the coach to Heathrow, and there you will be letting us on. That's what I think. What do you think, E?
Yeah.
No, we ain't going Little Hampton again.
Yeah, we got to go with that. Yeah,
We're not going Little Hampton or Margate.
We never got to roll with that vision.
Yeah, it's not that one.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
It's the one where we say this is our boy, and we supported him to get there. But thank you.
We could probably start writing some children's books, Joshua the Pilot. You know what I mean?
I think you should. In fact, Joshua's probably written it already because he's so resourceful. He's probably just waiting to
You know what I mean?
to go to print. But I do want you to connect with Rashid Graham because he was a real torchbearer for me. And I feel your story in the seat of my soul. I'm a mother of 2 sons, and your whole vision, your whole being, your whole presence here in the studio. I am in awe of being in your space, and that is really something because I think at 22, you're in a wonderful space.
Amazing.
Don't you think, E?
Yeah, definitely. Amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I contemplated having a lie-in today because I've got a full weekend. But when I connected with you, I thought, no, I'm actually doing a show. I'm doing a show because this is urgent. It's important, and we've done it before. It needs to happen. And when I think about the connectivity of Errol and the work that he's done, everything always lines up seamlessly. Nothing is by chance, right? Nothing is by chance. Nothing is by coincidence. Everything that happened and the way that it happened, how you came to be here today, is not by accident. So we're going to shout out to your mum, your dad, to Sarah, and also to Tyrone. But I want you to know it's not by accident. You are here deliberately. And so we are going to make sure that we support you. But guys, any final words, Joshua?
Huge shout out to Tyrone, my mum, and my dad, for everyone for helping me get to this point here, for where I am now, and for allowing me to be on the show as well. Thank you to you guys and for all the crew.
Lovely. We've had a wonderful time. Don't forget, this coming Friday is karaoke down at the Kilburn Bridge. It is a 70s themed event this week. Loads of people are celebrating their birthdays. You've got to get down there. There's going to be birthday parties. Big E's probably going to... Are you getting an afro or anything, E, or is it a secret?
It's a secret.
It's a secret. E's going to be down there. I've got my outfit already, so I'm going to be down there ready to go. I think we should bring Ola down, actually. Ola should come down and join us. Get Ola a wig. You coming, Ola? Yeah. Ola's coming. So we're going to be down at the Kilburn Bridge, 77 High Road, Kilburn, and we are going to be having a wonderful time celebrating birthdays and also listening to some 70s music. And so we're going to play one of those. This is E's... I was going to play Warrior Charge as well, let me see. No, we ain't got no time. I have to Warrior Charge when I get down there. But we're going to play E's selection today. And he's taking it out nice and easy. He's not being ruckus like me with Warrior Charge. I think I need to do Warrior Charge. I'm struggling here. Anyway, let's not do Warrior Charge. Let's do I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye. Guys, we're off to BBMC. We'll see you tomorrow down at Bridge Park. And in the meantime, between time, it's your girl Blaze, and I'm out.